Bam, what's goody? Jordan here, and in today's video, I'm gonna show you how to start a mix. Well, I'm gonna first start off with showing you how to export a song, how to organize it, how to set your Autotune and plugins so that you can start mixing professionally. Let's get it. So the first thing I like doing is a lot of artists are sending me their projects right after they get done recording, and they have a bunch of plugins on them, and that is fine. You don't have to worry about that. So even if they send me a project file, as you can see, a lot of artists do punch-ins like this where they'll record a first few bars and then cut in. And what I like to do is export these as stems into a folder. Just create a folder on your desktop with the song name and call it the stems folder. And then what we're going to do is go to File, Export, all tracks as audio files, okay? And you're going to go to your desktop and go inside that folder. And you're gonna go trim silence at file end, wave file, 24-bit. And then you're going to hit bypass effect plugins. This is going to turn off any plugins that were previously on. I like to start fresh with a mix, so I bypass all those, and you can include volume and pan automation. And then we're gonna hit export. And what this is going to do is this is going to export all the audio files the same length so that we can actually change the BPM and put it on the correct BPM. That way when we use effects later down in the mixing line, that they're going to be on beat. And when we make beat chops, it's going to be perfectly synced. Now drag that folder to the first bar. We're gonna hit create new track. As you see, they're not the same like distance, but that's perfectly fine because the vocals are not that long. But you wanna make sure that they all start at the same time, which they do, so we're in good shape. Now the next thing I like doing is soloing the beat on the beat track over here to the left. I'm going to put a plugin in metering called the BPM counter. This is going to find the correct BPM and we're gonna set the BPM. Okay, as you hear, the beat is very loud, so always turn your beat down just using the volume knob. This was gonna give us a lot of headroom so we can mix the vocals and then master it at the end and bring all the levels up. And if you don't, you're not gonna have any room for your vocals, so. If you ever see a decimal point, that means you just times it by 2 right here. Now 145. We double click up here on the tempo, enter 145, highlight everything, zoom in to the beginning, and you see this little dead space in the intro. Whenever exporting actually from FL Studio, it gives a little bit of space, and actually Logic, it adds a little bit of space to the intro. And all we're gonna do is cut that off and then boom, shift over. And we want it to be where it's perfectly now sitting on beat. So the kick, or the main part, as you see the bass right there, is starting at an even bar, so 17. Bars usually go from 1, 5, 9, 13, 17, 21, 25. So you can see if it starts here, that means I'm gonna be able to easily make chops that are on beat, okay? So that when we loop something, it's gonna loop back easily. So we'll go from 17 to 21 and see what we got.
They told us that we wasn't good enough. Straight to the top like an uppercut. Stun on my ex like I'm 21. When in my bag, I'ma run it up. I put a we wasn't good enough. Straight to the top like an uppercut.
You see, so it loops perfectly. Honestly, this is why I wanted to make this video, because I have never taught this and it's kind of hard to understand the significance of it. But as you see, when we start beat chopping and using delays, it's gonna make it so much easier. So this is something I actually do on every single project that I mix, okay? And I just wanna let you guys know that this is part 1 of the Ultimate Waves vocal mixing series, and I just want to talk about a little bit about this because this is episode 1 of 9. So in the future ones, I already got them all planned out, and if you're watching this at a later date, you can probably see them in the description or in the pinned comment down below. But in the next video, we're going to be talking about deductive EQ, compression, parallel compression, saturation, all that. Here's the list of stuff if you want to just pause the video to look at it. By the end, we're going to be showing you the ultimate mastering machine. A lot of fun things planned, and we're only going to be using Waves plugins so that you're able to do this on all music softwares, not just Logic, what I'm using right now. If you're interested in learning more about mixing and mastering, make sure you smash that subscribe button down below and smash that like button. So the next way I like to prepare my mix is by grouping similar tracks to each other. All right, so I hold Command, I click on both tracks, double click, hit create track stack, and then summing stack, okay? Now ad-libs, okay? Now I close that out, and I got a chorus, I got a bridge, and I got 2 verses. So I'm just gonna hold command on the verses, create track stack, and then just call this verses, okay? And that's about all we have to group. The rest is one chorus by itself and then a bridge, which bridges are like choruses, but we're gonna mix them a little bit differently. So we have our chorus, we have our beat, and now we need to know the key of the beat so that we know what our auto-tune is set to. Before I even start to mix, I actually set the auto-tune already, so we're gonna start with that as well. I'm just going to put on Auto-Tune Pro on each of these vocals, and Tara's has automated auto-tune, and you'll see why. I like to put on auto key, go on Tara's auto key on the beat, and we're gonna find out the key of the beat. Let's play this.
It wasn't good enough, straight to the top like an uppercut. Stun on my ex like I'm 21. When in my bag, I'ma run it up.
So B flat minor, it says. All I have to do is send to auto-tune, and now if I go on any of these auto-tunes, it's automatically gonna be set to B flat minor. So normally you would have to go through each one, set the key, but we already have it all set up, so.
No, straight to the top like an uppercut. Stun on my ex like I'm 21. When in my bag, I'ma run it up. I put a 4 in the double cup. Go to the stew and I fuck it up.
Okay, cool. The next thing I like doing is just shaping the beat a little bit, so we can put on an EQ of your choice. You don't have to use a Waves EQ for this. This is just any stock EQ that you have on your DAW, and we're just going to put the analyzer on and just see where the bass is sitting. We're going to turn down some annoying parts in the beat, okay?
It wasn't good enough, straight to the top like an uppercut. Stun on my ex like I'm 21. When in my bag, I'ma run it up. I put a 4 in the double cup. Go to the stew and I fuck it up. She bouncing the ass like it's double dutch. Yeah, but you bet you ain't bad enough. She won't.
Okay, so I just felt like the bass is a little bit overpowered. So as you see, I'm just bringing anything under 100 hertz down 1.5 decibels, just to control a little bit and give us more space, because the bass is just too out there and it's too much. But by the time we're with mastering and stuff, we're gonna make sure that sub is perfect and you can feel it in your chest when you're listening on proper system. All right, so the next thing I like doing is just putting a level meter and a limiter on the master before we get started into mixing, just so I know that we're not gonna be clipping and distorting. And by the end of this series, you'll see that I'm going to have a fully made out mastering chain that I'll break down for you. But in the beginning, I like just putting a limiter. So you can just put whatever limiter you want. And I just like to put the out ceiling at -0.1, okay? This will ensure that everything we mix, it will not clip in our ears, which is very dangerous. So just -0.1. On the stereo out, we can just simply put on a Studio Rack plugin, which is a free virtual instrument rack, just like Channel Rack here, but I think it's a little bit easier to use. I'm just going to put a meter. You can use a meter of your choice. And I'm just gonna monitor the levels of where we're at occasionally throughout when we're mixing.
It wasn't good enough, straight to the top like an uppercut. Stun on my ex like I'm 21. When in my bag, I'ma run it up. I put a 4 in the double cup. Go to the stew and I fuck.
Okay, so by the end of this series, our goal is to get to around -9, or maybe even a little bit more, like -6. See how far we can push it. This is showing us that we have about 7 decibels of headroom. So we're in a good position, and that is why we lower the beat. Headroom is mixing, okay? We wanna give as much headroom as possible. So the second video is all about cleaning up the vocal by using dynamic and deductive EQ. That's very essential, that I've been using on every single mix that I do. It's the very first part of the mixing process that I love doing because it really gives you a clean vocal. And if you're interested in watching the second part of this series, you can check it out right here. Let's get it!